It's fascinating. Every region, BJP well ahead, some more than others. It's time, therefore, to give you the big numbers, the make or break numbers. Uttar Pradesh, 403 seats on offer. What is the Axis My India exit poll from UP saying? Look at these numbers. Sensational. 288 to 326. We are predicting a sweep of the same that the BJP won with 315 seats last time. 288 to 326. So halfway point is about 305 seats. Over 300 is what is being predicted. Yogi Adityanath could then do what no one has done so far in the history of Uttar Pradesh since actually ever. 5 years as Chief Minister and then win again. It's never been done. Not since 1985 has a government been re-elected. This is history if it happens. Akhilesh Yadav plus allies 71 to 101. Improvement over when he was tying up with the Congress, but still well behind as per this poll. Mayawati, the mighty Mayawati who won a majority in 2007 is down to single digits as per this poll, 3 to 9. That may not be a surprise. Many people feared the worst for her. Congress, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra addressed 172 rallies plus road shows, 1 to 3. Others is 2 to 3 at the moment. This is an absolute landslide which is being predicted. And if this is true, it could completely realign our understanding of UP politics, and it could mean that the BJP is now got the momentum to go into 2024 as well, because when you win Uttar Pradesh by these margins, it gives you the momentum. It could crush the opposition in India's most populous state. I hate to say I told you so, but there's a column I wrote 10 days ago saying BJP clear lead, for which I was attacked. But this is what the numbers are showing at the moment. I could be horribly wrong, both in my column. These numbers could be wrong. These are only predictions. I had said the BJP had a lead. I gave 5 factors. You can read that column, but let's get our experts to give us the view. Is anyone surprised here? Please raise their hands if you're shocked. Preeti, you're surprised with these numbers. You believe that it's a much tighter race. Am I correct?
Well, you know, Rajdeep, if I can, these numbers suggest a wave. This is a wave election then. If 326 is the number that the BJP is actually going up to anywhere over 285, this is a wave election. I didn't catch a wave as a reporter on ground. I did not catch it. I caught that wave in...
You caught anger? Did you catch anger?
In pockets, yes. In pockets, yes.
Is that anger?
Deep-seated anger in pockets. So I've always maintained this is a really tight contest. It's a tough fight. Every district you'd go to, every district would say, no seats hain, no ki no phasi hui.
So you're saying that it is a much tighter contest.
I would think it's with BJP.
And I think most of us would not have predicted a 300 plus, certainly. Let's be very clear.
Including the BJP at the center.
That's right. You know,
Yogi Adityanath was saying 300 plus.
Sure.
BJP at the center was saying 220, say 250.
You know, Rahul, I thought the BJP is ahead, as I said, because I didn't sense that kind of sharp anti-incumbency. I believe that the BJP has crafted a much wider social base. I thought Hindutva, law and order, and critically free ration. As I said, ration in the gaon, shasan in urban areas, law and order plus ration. And look at the numbers. And this is the critical number that I want our psephologists to really explore. Maybe Rahul, you want to explore this first. BJP among men, 44%, SP 40, BSP 10. Congress 3, others 3. Go to women. BJP plus 48, SP plus 32, BSP 14, Congress 3, others 3. 16% gap among women voters. If 50% of the population is voting 16% more, and remember in phases 5, 6, women voter turnout is 10 and 8% more than men. It's a done deal. That's where Pradeep is getting his numbers. The woman, Mahila voter, Ladki hu, Lad Sakti hu is what Priyanka Gandhi said, but the Ladki has gone, it appears as per this poll, fully with the BJP, Shasan plus Ration. Your views?
So first, it's possible that we get these numbers. I'm a bit skeptical on the size of...
The scale of it.
Yes.
I think we all are.
Yeah. And second, I want to basically, if these numbers are true, 48 versus 32 gap among women voters, this would be the highest gender gap anywhere in the country. Even Mamta just had 6 to 8 point advantage.
You're saying ever?
Yes, 16% gap for a political party, especially for BJP. BJP actually before 2014 used to trail among women voters. Now the trends have reversed. So reversal, but this kind of reversal in UP, 16
One of
percentage
the
point.
women ministers of this government, Anupriya Patel, joins us from the Apna Dal. Her family was split, but the voters in Uttar Pradesh seem to have backed the BJP Apna Dal alliance very strongly, and a 16% gap in favor of the BJP among women voters. 32% women voting for the SP, 48% for the BJP alliance. There hasn't ever been such a big gap among women voters, and that could be one of the biggest takeaways from this election. Anupriya Patel. Ma'am, can you hear me, Anupriya ji?
Yes,
Anupriya ji, can you hear me? Okay, so my question is, first and foremost, congratulations.
Yes.
As far as these exit polls are concerned, your alliance seems to be winning and winning in style. Are these numbers bigger than what you would have expected, Anupriya ji?
Well, I have always maintained since the very beginning of this election that NDA will retain power and we will make a grand comeback in Uttar Pradesh, and now your exit polls are talking the same language. So I am not surprised, maybe the others would be, but I am not surprised. I was always confident we are coming back, and now we see the same happening.
And we're talking about the significance of women voters. Amongst women, 16% more women have voted for the BJP than they did for the Samajwadi Party. Amongst men, the gap is only 4%. But amongst women, the gap is much bigger, suggesting that the BJP alliance is able to pull women disproportionately to their ticket.
Certainly, this is not without a reason. A lot of our schemes were centered around women. You know, the toilets that we constructed, they have gone a long way in addressing the basic needs of women voter in the rural areas or the urban areas. Then the gas cylinders under the Ujjwala scheme, which reach the women in the households. Also, the housing facilities that we provided to the common man, the common voter, the ownership is in the name of a woman. So women voters have seen that the government has a pro-women approach in so far as the pro-poor welfare schemes are concerned, and which I think is the biggest force that has been instrumental in creating or building more faith in the minds of the women voter towards the NDA-led government, and which is why we see such a big gap in the percentage of women voter turning out to vote in favor of the NDA alliance candidates.
Thank you very much, Anupriya ji, for joining us. Also, Sanjay.
Can I ask Anupriya
Yeah, go
one question? Anupriya ji, your old friend Rajdeep Sardesai here.
Yes.
You tell me, Anupriya ji, you know,
Yes,
your party,
Rajiv ji.
the Kurmi voter, you know, there was so much of talk about the non-Yadav voters. That 35% was going to be critical to this election. The BJP was seen to have the upper caste with them. The SP had Muslim Yadav solidly behind them. 35% non-Yadav voter OBCs, including Kurmis, would make a difference. Was this election at the end of the day fought along those lines, or are you saying that issues like Ration, Shasan, Ujjwala, they go beyond these caste lines if these numbers are right? If, it's a big if these numbers are right. Because Preeti is saying, har constituency mein takkar hai.
Look now, to be... No, both factors are equally important. Look, you cannot deny caste equations in the poll battle of Uttar Pradesh or any other state for that matter. Caste equations and caste arithmetic is important, and every party tries to, you know, create that balance in the caste arithmetic, and the OBC voter in Uttar Pradesh constitute a sizable population, more than 50%. So you cannot ignore such a big chunk of population, because eventually your voter is coming from that population only. So definitely it makes a difference. And then insofar as the pro-poor welfare schemes are concerned, because the schemes have reached people without discrimination, and because the sizable and the considerable population is made up of the OBC voters, so definitely the OBCs, a large chunk would have benefited out of these schemes, which we are saying has created a faith in their heart towards the NDA-led alliance. So everything put together, we see this, this whole election turning in favor of NDA and NDA coming
I have
back,
a bit of
making a grand
concern.
comeback in Uttar Pradesh.
This
but
is
getting another
largely on behalf of
opportunity to
everyone who's watching, because so far there was an election cap on price rise when it comes to petroleum products. We're just hearing that starting 6 a.m. tomorrow, CNG prices in Delhi likely to go up by about 50 paisa per kg to 1 kilo per kilogram. That's just CNG. This is likely to happen in diesel, petrol. So basically that election moratorium on increase in petroleum prices seems to be over, Anupriya ji.
Ask about free ration. Will it continue?
Honestly, I'm really not aware of this development, so I wouldn't really know what to react to this. But no decision was ever made keeping elections in mind. We have a pure intent to serve the common voter of Uttar Pradesh or the whole country insofar as our government of India is concerned. And I would really not like to comment on this.
But that's outside the UP syllabus.
No, but Anupriya ji, let me be honest. When you were on the ground, we saw Mehengai was an issue. Berozgari was a big issue among the young people. Avara Pashu, stray cattle, huge issue. People are angry, were disillusioned over these issues. Are you telling me that ration and Shasan were enough to overcome that? You cannot tell me that people on the ground were not disillusioned. We met a number of young people saying, Naukri hi nahi hai.
Okay, I have two things to say. Stray cattle menace, yes, it does exist in UP. Our government tried to address this menace. We tried to construct Gau Ashray Sthal, but I would still admit that efforts were not sufficient, and which is why Prime Minister, while addressing a rally, said that in the next regime we will do more to curb this menace. And when we spoke to the voter on ground, they did come up with this concern, but we also told them that we will do more. And they were in favor of the NDA alliance, because law and order was such a big issue that the voter had big fear in their heart that if the Samajwadi Party led alliance comes to power in Uttar Pradesh, then maybe the stray cattle menace is a smaller one, but a bad law and order would be too difficult a menace to handle. So that kind of became a bigger issue, and this became a smaller issue. Nevertheless, I would still say that yes, the problem still exists and we need to address it, and we will try. We will leave no stone unturned to address this problem. It is a serious
despite this
issue which
sweep
persists.
or seeming sweep,
and yes,
there
you
is a
also
big
raised
cause
an
of
issue about
concern
employment generation.
from the BJP's perspective, and that is this. Amongst voters who are in the age group of 18 to 25, the BJP leads the Samajwadi Party by only 1%. 41 versus 40. 40 for the SP, BJP 41. Anywhere else, the gap is 14%, 13%, 12% and 14%. But when it comes to that young and the restless voter, 18 to 25, the gap, ma'am, is only 1%. And that, despite this jubilation, is the one question mark that hangs over this result, Anupriya ji.
Well, okay, if that is the analysis, I would say that since you had raised the issue of employment generation also, we did face COVID pandemic, which kind of disrupted the whole economic scenario. And yes, this was a serious issue, but we also were successful in explaining to the young aspirational voter that we are, employment generation is high on our agenda, and we have created a roadmap to have better employment generation in our next regime. The ease of doing business ranking has improved. We have been able to create massive infrastructure across the state, whether it is roads or railways or waterways, airports, electricity, everything has improved, and we have also an improved law and order situation. So we have paved way for getting larger investments, and there are big organizations, big investors who are showing interest in UP. They see now UP as a preferable destination for investment. So maybe in our next regime, we will be able, we have decided, set a target of getting 10 lakh crores of investment. So that is a kind of argument we have put forth to the young voter, and I think to a great extent we have been able to convince them.
Okay, we'll leave it over there. Anupriya Patel, thank you for joining us. Sanjay Kumar, how do you explain that amongst this 18 to 25 voter, the gap between BJP and SP is only 1%. In any other category, it's at least 12, going up to 14%.
Frankly, Rahul, I don't think I'm in a position to explain that in one group, which is the young voters. I do get a sense from the ground. I also got the sense that, yes, there is a huge disenchantment among the young voters because unemployment is on the rise, price rise on the rise. So that disenchantment can bring the gap between Samajwadi Party and BJP so close, just 1%. But what suddenly happens to those voters who are not in that age group, that the gap suddenly increases in favor of BJP by say 12, 14 or 15%. So really, Rahul, I don't have an explanation to this, and I'm a little skeptical about this data about why there's just only 1% gap and suddenly it increases to such a huge number.
I'll tell you why I think so, and then you can take it to the guest. My belief is, I'm again trying to plug my article, Rahul. Here it is. In UP polls, the BJP has a clear edge.
When it comes to marketing his content,
but I want
is
to
like Shah Rukh Khan.
No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why what's happened. The youth are angry. There are two narratives that took place in UP. There was a narrative of berozgari, of mehengai, of avara pashu. There was a narrative in UP of ration, of Shasan as described as law and order, and I will tell you this at the risk of being called politically incorrect, anti-Muslim sentiment as mirrored in Hindutva. These are three competing different narratives. I believe that the narrative of Avara Pashu, of Mehengai, made people feel disappointed with this government, also COVID management, but not angry enough to vote against the BJP, which got, Rahul, we forget, 49.5% of the vote just 2 years ago. We sometimes forget that, 49.5% in Lok Sabha elections. So they were angry, but not angry enough to vote against. On the other hand, those who was on ration, which is welfareism, those who spoke, Rahul, the language of Shasan, law and order, and those who felt कि ये जो सरकारें हैं हमारी हिंदुओं की सरकार है, they were much more willing to still stand by the BJP. And just a final point, look at the politics of UP, and Rahul Srivastav knows it even better than it. Since 1990, Mulayam Singh has been chief minister thrice, Mulayam plus Akhilesh. Mayawati has been 4 times. 30 years you've given them a chance. Number of people I met said, इनको तो मौका दिया है, इनको केवल 5 साल दिए हैं, इनको 5 साल और देते हैं. This is a vote, if these numbers are right, of the poor. Those poor who are getting those DBT delivery benefits. Narendra Modi's government has failed, in my view, on jobs, but has succeeded on last mile delivery of basic welfare benefits. And those basic welfare benefits in COVID times, when I get 5 kilos of rice, when I get atta, when I get namak, and when I get oil, helps me. I saw it with Pinarayi Vijayan. Pinarayi Vijayan did in Kerala what no one had done for 40 years, defeated anti-incumbency. But our friend, Mr. Yogi Adityanath, is possibly doing what no one has done in 40 years, defeat anti-incumbency.
And it takes away
last mile delivery.
Some of the disappointment amongst BJP voters on the back of what happened in West Bengal. So now West Bengal is forgotten. They say, देखो UP में क्या किया.
देखिए, one thing very important, the decisive leadership of Narendra Modi. You know, the Prime Minister Modi has heavily impacted on Uttar Pradesh, and this Uttar Pradesh verdict is going to endorse his philosophy, his governance. Yes. One important thing that Bharatiya Janata Party has expanded its social base. Traditionally, we think that it's an upper caste party, but the party has expanded. That is not being analyzed and seen, because you just see that this leader is capturing this caste vote, this party is capturing this caste vote. You go to Jat land, you will find a larger number of Jat are associating with the Bharatiya Janata Party ideology. Second important, the Hindutva is not anti-Muslim. You know, the kind of governance Yogi Adityanath ji has given, that is significant for the people, law and order. Just see the infrastructure development. Without infrastructure development, you can't imagine a state can grow in economy. Unprecedented infrastructure growth in Uttar Pradesh.
यूपी शाइनिंग नहीं है, कोई यूपी शाइनिंग नहीं है. मैं गांव में गया हूं, प्रीति गई है. राहुल सर, आप जानिए, लोगों की बेरोजगारी है.
आप सुन लीजिए,
राजदीप, One second, Rajdeep, if they win 288 seats, people want them back and they want them back in
Yes,
style.
I've given you the reasons.
No, it is your verdict. It's not the people's verdict.
giving you the
Let me finish my point. You know, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has given Uttar Pradesh another identity. The soft power of the Uttar Pradesh that is being projected. The Kashi Vishwanath, the kind of thing after 400 years.
The government has done some good work. Nobody doubts that.
Law and order, you are giving important.
I agree. On law and order, I give the government.
Not a single communal right has taken place in the last 5 years.
Yes, Rahul, very quickly, then we've got 4 guests waiting.
Rajdeep, this is what I said initially. How potent the subterranean Hindutva element is in UP, that will decide, and the marginalized. Why I say marginalized? If you see the Jat land, in that area also, the BJP has a combination of Senis, Pals, Prajapati, Kashyaps and others who actually become 40% of the population. Along with the upper caste, if you add them, the BJP has the arithmetic rise, Rajdeep. That's where these marginalized come in. BJP's arithmetic is intact, could well be intact, and the BJP could be doing. But 326, Rajdeep, is utopian.
Yeah, so we don't know.
No, even 288, Rajdeep, is definitely not happening.
Okay.
The BJP is going to lose at least 80
Thanks,
seats
Rahul
in UP.
Srivastava, for that resounding vote of confidence.
Landslide victory.
Okay, landslide victory versus Rahul predicting a much closer fight. That makes it exciting. Go ahead, Rahul. We've got lots of guests.
We've got Supriya Shirne joining us, who I assume won't be very pleased with the results, and with good reason. Sanju Verma joins us from the BJP. Sharad Pradhan joins us. Sandeep Shastri is with us. I want to go across to Supriya Shirne first, because we haven't heard from the Congress on Uttar Pradesh, despite all the efforts Priyanka Gandhi Vadra made in UP. When it comes to seat share, the Congress projected to bag only between 1 and 3. And when it comes to vote share, the Congress could slip from 6.2% to close to about 3%. Supriya, welcome.
Thank you very much, and a very good evening to all of you. Firstly, these aren't results like you said. This is an exit poll, and let's treat it like that, because exit polls in Bengal were also predicting a BJP victory. The palpable anger on the ground, and whoever was talking about infrastructure, I did not know who was talking about infrastructure, has perhaps forgotten how UP is one state with the number of people who are unemployed. It is a state that has seen bodies float. It is a state which has seen encounters happen, and in the name of law and order, you have a chief minister who says bulldozer and thok do. So let's not step ahead of ourselves, and let's not run away with this. This is an exit poll. And please understand this, for all of you, and I know many of you have visited UP all across, when you sat in cabs and asked people who were they voting for, most of them out of fear, because the kind of dominance one has seen of power as in Uttar Pradesh have said the BJP. When you dug further and you said you were a non-BJP sympathizer, that's when they opened up. So let's not step ahead of ourselves. These numbers do tell a story, but I don't think that's the entire picture, and this picture is going to considerably change come the 10th of March. These are only exit poll numbers, firstly.
Sanju
because
Verma,
the real issues on the ground continue to be priced.
Supriya Shirne says, picture abhi baki hai, don't pop the bubbly. Just because, or the Ganga Jal, I mean, whatever it is that you think is the right thing to pop, but wait till the results come out on the 10th, Sanju.
You're cooler.
Okay. Rahul, I want to say first and foremost that the BJP is not a party which builds flaky castles in the air. We are confident of a victory because we work very hard for it. I think you have said it umpteen times, and I'll simply rephrase that. Be it Narendra Modi, be it JP Nadda, be it Amit Shah, be it the entire battalion of leaders. These are 24/7 politicians. These are not part-time politicians and full-time vacationers. Point number 2, a lot has been said about BJP's caste arithmetic, social engineering. I was listening to some of the panelists a while back. The fact of the matter is, I will now borrow Rajdeep Sardesai's phrase, beyond caste, beyond social engineering, beyond the religious Hindu consolidation or Muslim consolidation. The big vote bank today is the Labharti, the beneficiary. And I think the Congress has become the proverbial ostrich with its head buried under the sand. It refuses to look at facts in the eye, and I will say the same for the Samajwadi Party, because the Congress is not even in the running. The Congress is only in the running in television studios. On the ground, the Congress today is a big zero, and I'll tell you why. Be it Western UP, be it Rohilkhand, Bundelkhand, Purvanchal, Central UP, the reason why there is a sweep, there is a landslide which has never happened for an incumbent sitting chief minister, which will happen this time for the first time in 3 decades, is because of simply this. And I'll take 30 seconds to wrap up. During COVID, more than 15 crore people were fed, given free ration every month only in the state of Uttar Pradesh. 1.5 crore people benefited under the free electricity Saubhagya scheme. More than 1 crore women.
Okay,
in Uttar Pradesh
okay, the campaigning
alone
is
were given
over. People
free
have
gas
already
cylinders.
decided what they thought of all those claims, and they seem to have backed them in style. Raj.
May I please finish?
No, one second.
No.
You